guys, welcome to Path to the Barbell. I just wanted to give my 2024 Shaw Classic predictions. I actually spent a lot of time researching this one, and I have a Excel sheet ranking every single guy on every single event from 1st to 16th place with point totals and everything like that. We'll see how that holds up, and I'll probably post it somewhere before the competition just so we can see how the predictions age. I think that'd be a little fun. But let's get into it with the first event. Deadlift for Max, Raw. Thor wins. Let's be real. Thor wins very easily, very convincingly. Looking at his Arnold Classic performance, it wasn't even close, and I don't see anything that would change that. If anything, Thor's deadlift has improved since then, and he was already pulling 1,000 pounds very easily on the Arnold Classic. So Thor wins in my opinion. Matt Ragg comes in second. I think Matt pulled 460 earlier this year very easily. He was in a suit, granted, but he said in a recent interview that he doesn't get much out of a suit, and I'll take his word for it. And he's shown he really likes deadlift for reps. But on top of that, he hasn't placed outside of a deadlift event, outside of the top two, for like 6 years or something ridiculous. So he's a phenomenal deadlifter. Right underneath him, I have Mitch Hooper rounding out the top three. I think Mitch will do really well. He pulled something like 435 in training. He's always reliably good on a deadlift. I think he'll do very well here. And then we'll say probably Austin Andrade in fourth. I think Austin's pulled over 430 raw as well. Normally I would put somebody like Bobby Thompson up here, but Bobby has not been looking too great in this training block on his deadlift, in my opinion. If Bobby was looking the way he normally does, like if it was his Arnold Classic shape, then I would absolutely back him for fourth place. Maybe even clipping Mitch, potentially. But that's my top four. I think Tom struggles actually on this event. I think he places mid to maybe upper mid pack. But if you look at his results for a raw deadlift from the floor, Tom does not have great results, if we're being honest. Rogue Invitational 2022, Arnold Classic 2023, and 2024. Not the best results, to be honest. I think he's pulled 420-ish is his best raw from the floor. I think he'll beat that. I think he'll be around the 420 to 430 mark. But I don't think that's going to be enough for a top placement here. I think Evan Singleton will do very well also. I could see him breaking top four, but not really top three. After that, we have the overhead medley, which I'm going to back either Mitch or Tom to win. I think both of those guys are phenomenal on this kind of event, and I think it'll be hard to break a top two that has those two guys in it. They are both phenomenal on axle. Mitch is the best of all time on axle, and Tom is still really good on axle, but he's also phenomenal on log press, so is Mitch. And on top of that, more importantly, those guys are fast with overhead events, particularly Mitch. Underneath those two, I think Evan Singleton could do super well here because it's not for Max. Evan doesn't tend to do very well on Max overhead events, but he does very well on overhead for speed, like timed events, like a log ladder. He tends to do pretty well. And he does well on reps. So I think he'll do well here. I also think Maxime Boudreau, very surprisingly, he just hit a 205 or a 202 log press at North America's Strongest Man this year, which is not that long ago. It was only like a few weeks ago. Maxime is back in shape, and you're going to hear his name a lot in this video because I actually think he has some phenomenal events here, and I think he can do very, very well. So I think Maxime will do well as well. I think Lucas Hatton will also do very well. Lucas Hatton is a monster, and he's really good on overhead. So first place, Mitch Hooper. Second place, Tom Stoltman. Third place, Evan Singleton or Lucas Hatton. And then fifth place, Maxime Boudreau. After that, we have the keg toss for Max Height, I believe. Another easy win for Thor, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people are going to say that Tom can push him. I think Tom and Wes Stawinski will be second place tied. But I don't see any of them truly pushing Thor, if I'm being honest. Thor easily beat the world record in training, and it looked like he had a lot more in the tank. And I don't see anybody else really close to that level, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, Thor wins. Tom and Wes Stawinski come in second place, probably tied, or second and third place. I would give a slight edge to Tom on that event. Just depends on how small the increments are, because I think Tom could edge out Wes Stawinski, but I believe it's a 10 centimeter minimum jump, or 10 centimeter minimum jump. So I think I could see them tying on that. After those guys, I have Maxime rounding out fourth place on that. He is really good on that kind of event. And then right under Maxime, I have Lucas Hatton and Mitch Hooper, who I think will still do very well on this event, but I don't think they're quite on the level of the guys that I already mentioned. After that, I believe we have the first power medley, which is a super heavy wheelbarrow into arm over arm pull. This event, Maxime destroyed last year, and I think he can hang on to first place despite the lineup getting better this year. I think Maxime wins this event. He had a time of 60.2 something seconds last year, so I have him winning. I have Evan Singleton coming second on this. Evan was only 2 seconds. He was at 62.7 something, I think. 62 seconds last year. Not a lot of room between those guys to get in between. But they both did phenomenal jobs last year. After them, I have Thor taking it. Thor is built for this kind of event. We see great results from Thor in arm over arm in the past, and his frame has really come up. If you look at his frame performance in the Arnold, he did a phenomenal job coming in second there. And his grip has actually never looked better. Even before his semi-retirement, his grip is better now than it was even in 2018, by a large margin too. So I have Thor rounding out the top three. I think Tom and Mitch will both be very competitive on this event. But I don't think they get top three on this. Also, Ivars. I believe Ivars did super well in this event. I think he had a time that was close to 70 seconds. So I'll say Mitch Hooper in fourth, and then Ivars, and then Tom to round out the top six on that event. After that, we have the squat for max reps. Thor has another easy win here, in my opinion. And I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. Looking at his training, he destroyed, I think it was 380 kilos for 5 reps very smoothly. So like 830 pounds or something like that. 835 for 5 reps. And nobody else has posted anything on that level because it looked super smooth. Mitch has done 800 for 5, and it looked good, but you could tell that 5th rep was his last rep. Lucas Hatton's also very scary on this event, in my opinion. So I think Thor wins, and I think Mitch and Lucas Hatton are second and third, but I think their placement depends on who does better on the prior event. Because I think if Lucas does better, he can just see how many reps Mitch does and then try to clip him. Same thing with Mitch. Overall, I would maybe give the advantage to Mitch, but I don't know on that, to be honest. I think it's a close call. After those guys, I think Evan will do very well here. He did super well on the leg press last year. He could have kept going, and he probably could have won that event, but there was a communication error, and they ended his run early. Tom, I think, places mid to upper mid pack, but I don't think he gets big points here. Tom would have preferred a deadlift for reps over a max deadlift, and he probably would have preferred the leg press over a squat, in my opinion. He has not had great results on squat in the past. I'm sure he will have improved here, but it's not the kind of event that Tom likes to see in a competition. So, after the power medley, we have the Max Stone. And if I get the order wrong, forgive me. I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I'm going to cover all the events. Max Stone, another... Well, no, I was going to say another win for Thor. A win for Tom this time. Tom, I think, is pretty undeniable on Atlas Stones. And if you look at everybody's training, I think Tom is the clear favorite. However, I do think that Thor and Ivars could make Tom push for a couple reps. I think Thor is the most likely second place. I do believe he will get the 272 kilo stone, but I don't know if he can rep it. And I think Tom could probably hit 3 or 4. Ivars has already done a 250 kilo stone in training. And this is an event that he really, really cares about. I think Ivars might take top 3 on this. After Ivars, I have Maxime. Maxime's in great shape. He's a phenomenal stone lifter, and he told Brian Shaw that he wants to rep the largest stone. Now, I haven't seen anything in his training that says he will be able to do that, but we know Maxime is one of the absolute best Atlas stone lifters in the world when he's in shape. So I wouldn't be shocked if he does hit the largest stone. After him, I have Trey coming in 5th place. Trey on his best day could be a lot higher, but he's coming back from that Achilles tear. He has done 500 pounds on the Atlas Stone for reps in this training block, so he is in great shape for Atlas Stones, but I don't think he's in peak shape, if that makes any sense. And then after them, I have Mitch. I think Mitch will do enough to stay towards the top pack on this, but I don't think this is something that he picks up points on. I think it's something that he tries to maintain points on, if that makes sense. After that, we have the circus dumbbell medley. Circus dumbbell is kind of a tricky one to predict, just because Novikov is not in peak shape anymore, and Mitch and Tom had phenomenal performances in 2023 at Worlds, but they were also atypical performances for them. So can they replicate that? And can they do that in a medley? I don't know. I think the winner on the circus dumbbell is Evan Singleton. He's super fast. He's in great shape. He loves this event. He's really, really good at this event. And Novikov is not in peak form. So I'm going to back Evan to win this one. After him, it's really hard. I think Pavlo Kordiaka, Novikov, Mitch, and Tom could all fall into the podium. So I'm going to choose them in no particular order for the rest of my top 5 on this event. I think Thor ends up mid-pack. I don't think he does as badly here as he will on the overhead medley. Overhead medley, I think I had him picking up 6 points. And on the circus dumbbell, I think I have him picking up 8 points. But Thor's still coming back from injury, and he presses on circus dumbbell with his left hand, which is the pec that got injured. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll say Evan wins, and then Evan wins, Tom, Mitch, Pavlo, and Novikov round out the top 5 on that. And then I could see Lucas Hatton doing 6th place on that. After that event, we, I believe, come to our final event, the Fingal's Fingers into Power Stairs. This event, I believe, was won by Maxime Boudreau last year, if I remember right. Maxime, Evan Singleton is also phenomenal. I'm giving Evan 2nd place. I'm giving Thor 3rd place because he's phenomenal at Fingal's Fingers. He's super tall, built for this kind of event. And I think he can edge out Ivars, who comes in 4th, in my opinion. After Ivars, I think it's between Tom and Mitch for 5th. So I have them rounding that out. And again, Lucas Hatton, I believe, does super well here as well. So overall, I have Tom Stoltman. Actually, no, we'll just do our top 6. I have Maxime coming in 6th. I think he does super well on a lot of events here, but I think he pretty much bombs the deadlift and the squat, and I think that's going to be really hard to come back from. So I have Maxime in 6th. I have Lucas Hatton in 5th. He has a lot of really good events here. I think the only one that he really drops points on would be the keg toss. If you looked at his results for keg toss in North America's Strongest Man, I think he comes in the bottom 3 in a much weaker lineup. So I have him in 5th place, doing very, very well. 4th place, I have Evan Singleton. I think Evan places consistently between 6th and 3rd on most events in this comp, but he doesn't have any banger events. And I think he can drop some points on the Max Stone. So I have him doing very well, but I don't have him breaking the podium. In 3rd place, I have Tom Stoltman. Tom does phenomenally well on a lot of events here, particularly the stone and the keg toss for height. But I think he can struggle on the deadlift. Oh, and he does very well on the overhead medley. But I think he struggles on deadlift. And I think a lot of the events that he would win this year or place very, very highly in, Thor kind of sneaks in there and causes problems for him. So I have Tom in 3rd, which leads us to the aforementioned Thor in 2nd. Thor would win this competition if his pec was fully healed and his overhead was back to where it has been before, in my opinion. But I think he drops too many points in the overhead medley and the circus dumbbell to win it, because I think Mitch is consistently in that. I think Mitch is basically between 5th and 3rd on every single event in this comp. And I think he also wins the overhead medley or comes really, really close. But Mitch is just too consistent this year, in my opinion. I think Mitch will consistently be on the top, and I think Thor will dominate everything besides the overhead events, but he loses too much to quite claw it back and take the win. So, recap, Mitch wins, Thor in 2nd, Tom in 3rd, Evan in 4th, Lucas Hatton in 5th, and Maxime in 6th. I think if I were to choose a 7th place, I would actually go with Ivars. I think Ivars will do really well in the squat. I don't know if I mentioned him, but I should have if I didn't. Ivars is a phenomenal squatter, and he's a really, really good stone lifter. And he's really, really good on power stairs. So he's kind of in a situation similar to Maxime where he has a lot of really good events, but he also has a lot of weak events. The keg toss, not his favorite. Overhead's not his favorite. He's better at circus dumbbell, but the medley really hurts him. Deadlift, I don't think he picks up any points. So he just drops too many points to really contend in any way. But I think he'll be at the top of the mid-pack. So that's my final predictions. I will try to place the Excel sheet somewhere in here. Maybe I'll put it up in discussions or something like that, just because I'd like you guys to see the full breakdown. And there's a couple placements that are probably a little different there than what I said here. I'm just firing off the top of my head, so it's not going to be perfect. But these are my general thoughts. Let me know. Also, shout out to Jace Loves Strength. He's a really, really nice guy. I didn't tell him I was going to say anything or shout him out, but he's a super nice guy. He live streams Strongman for longer periods than anybody that I know. If you go to his channel during World's Strongest Man, he will literally stream for hours and hours and hours. Super nice guy, really strong guy too. And he has some hot takes on Strongman as well. He has some interesting opinions. I don't always agree with him, but he's also very respectful with it, and he's a really nice guy. And it's fun to debate him. But yeah, check him out if you feel so inclined. He will be live streaming Shaw Classic probably this whole weekend as well. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. So let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you later.